What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to a new video. So as many of you know, my scrub pythons are my main priority, but that is definitely not all that I keep. I have a pretty diverse collection of both venomous snakes and colubrids as well. And today I'm going to be showing you guys some of my absolute favorite colubrids that I'm raising up for future breeding projects. I love the diversity in colubrids. There are quite literally thousands of species to choose from. And then within those species, tons of different locality types and morphs, etc. So for me, my colubrid addiction will probably never be fully satiated, but I do enjoy keeping a diverse colubrid collection. So with all that said, let me show you guys some of my favorites that I have raising up. So this right here is a great place to start. Of course, this is an Okeetee corn snake produced by my good friend Patrick Holmes. If you're a snake person and you don't like the look of a classic Okeetee corn snake, you should probably never keep a snake again. This is, really just one of the quintessential North American colubrids, one of the quintessential pet snakes. Just that incredibly rich orange-red coloration on the Okeetee corn snakes is just absolutely stunning. Of course, that checkered belly pattern where they get their namesake from. Corn snakes I feel like can often be overlooked these days, considering that the morph industry on the corn snake side has definitely a little bit over the hill. And because they are, considered one of the, obviously the best starter pet snakes, I feel like sometimes for anybody who's a little bit more of an experienced keeper, it's easy to overlook a corn snake. To me, you can't not like an animal like this, just a beautiful, high contrast Okeetee corn snake, one of the absolute coolest colubrids in North America. So this right here is my male tricolored hognose snake. This is, as all hognose snakes are, a rear-fang venomous species. They're from South America, and they are a very interesting species. They have that tricolor banding akin to, coral snakes and milk snakes. Obviously, no mimic needed here, as this is a venomous species, although rear-fanged. So the animals that I'm raising up were produced by Doug Dury, and in my opinion, he has the best tricolor hognose snakes in the United States and possibly in captivity in the entire world. Tricolor hognose snakes typically have bands like the first couple on this individual's body throughout their entire body, but the animals that Doug produces have a bunch of cool aberrancies in the color, bands with multiple white stripes in them, and then a range of coloration on the red, from orange to darker red coloration and everything in between. I'm very excited to raise these guys up and produce some interesting looks in offspring in the future. These guys are very prolific breeders as well, so that'll be very nice when the time comes to get sometimes multiple clutches a year from a tricolor hognose snake. They're very small as well, so a very manageable species size-wise. All right, this right here is one of my female Ocean County northern pine snakes. This locality of northern pine snake is a classic, known for that stark black and white contrast. Really just spectacular animals. This female particularly is from a line that is called the monster line, which, as the namesake would suggest, these animals from this line get really, really large as adults, significantly larger than the typical northern pine snake. To my knowledge, they can even sometimes, get 8 to 9 feet long, which would be really cool for her to be that large with this crazy high contrast look. They start off pretty big as babies. They're great feeders. And I think that these northern pine snakes are really great pet snakes. They're really beautiful and super, super solid. Very fun animals to keep. And this here is one of my male Ocean County northern pine snakes. This guy is probably my favorite of the group, and for obvious reasons. His really light coloration is just spectacular, along with this red on his tail. It's just absolutely gorgeous. Some pink through the sides. Overall, just really light coloration. His head almost has some kind of peach-like tones on it as well. Just lots of depth of coloration. All of the coolest aspects of northern pine snakes kind of wrapped up into one animal right here. My main goal with this project going forward is to take this male and breed him to the female you guys saw in the previous clip. Not only do I think that she will complement his color really well with how clean she is, but also to get that lineage into this look as well. They are completely unrelated, which I'm very happy about, to be able to breed northern pine snakes that will continue on a good, healthy, unrelated stock. This here is my female red phase northern pine snake. This lineage originates from Burlington County, New Jersey. and is known for very nice high red coloration as they mature. This is still a young individual, just a 2024 baby, so she's still early on in her color change, but you can see particularly on the sides and up near the head, a lot of that red coloration coming through. By the time these guys are adults, they're almost going to be a red and black pine snake. I'm super excited to get to that point. But even at this age and size, they're absolutely gorgeous. Pine snakes are definitely a lot of fun to raise up, and definitely another fun snake that goes through an interesting color change. And this here is my male red phase northern pine. So if you kind of compare and contrast him with the female who you just saw, he has developed a lot more red early on in life. You can especially see that in the front third or so of his body. Where the female was only kind of showing the red more towards the ventral, he has a lot more of that red coming in towards his dorsal as well, and even some coming through down near the tail. So like I said with that female, just an incredibly beautiful line, a locality specific line that I'm excited to have as part of the projects here. And really just with these guys, every single shed, they just develop more and more red. Sometimes when they shed, it's like you get an entirely new snake. They're very, very fun to raise. This right here is my male Polilo locality divergens mangrove snake, Boiga dendrophila divergens. This is one of the least common types of mangrove snakes in captivity, primarily because they are from the Philippines. And as many of you may know, the Philippines no longer exports wildlife. So whatever we have already out of the Philippines is what we have to work with in captivity. What is most special about these guys is their coloration, that powder blue, neon yellow, and black striping down the body. These guys only improve with age. By the time they're adults, that powder blue is just absolutely brilliant. The yellow is brilliant as well, and makes them one of the, if not the most sought after of the mangrove snakes. The fact that their coloration is so brilliant into adulthood, which I always love species of snakes that continue to improve in coloration with age, instead of some of the more common species with lots of morphs tend to only kind of dull with age. I love when I can have a 10-year-old animal that looks better than it did when it was 3 years old. And that is certainly the case with the divergens mangrove snakes. All right, this here is my female Vietnamese blue beauty snake. So for anybody who's been following me for a long time, you know that I used to breed this species. I had a few good clutches of them. Unfortunately, I lost my female last year. So I have this girl who's been raising up for a little while, and she's doing absolutely great. One thing I love about the blue beauty snakes, amongst a lot of things, is how their color and pattern changes throughout their body, where you kind of have like 4 snakes mixed into one. That kind of patternless neck, the more kind of diamond pattern, the middle of the body, that stripe kicks in, then you get the banding, and then the patternless and striped tail. They are great for somebody who wants a larger snake but doesn't want something that's, a Burmese python or a retic or even a scrub python if that's too big for you. They can easily get over 10 feet long, but they are very light bodied snakes, very slender, which makes them pretty manageable for one individual. And unlike some of those python species, even a bite from a big adult blue beauty snake is going to do essentially nothing to you. They don't pack a huge punch. They have very small teeth as well. But with that said, in my experience in particular, young ones can have a bit of an attitude. It's almost like we scripted this. With all that said, the adults, in my experience, have pretty calm demeanors. My big adult male that I still have is well over 10 feet long and is a complete puppy dog. So she's in a bit of a mood today. Maybe doesn't like all the bright lights. These are cave-dwelling species, so that could have something to do with why she doesn't like all of the lights and the camera. But despite how she's acting, one of my favorite colubrid species, and one that I never foresee myself not having as part of my collection. This here is my female Envy Snow San Diego gopher snake. One of the most beautiful morphs within the Pituophis complex, in my opinion. The name Envy Snow comes from Envy Reptiles, who popularized this mutation and really worked to perfect the appearance of it. What's really cool about this morph, like a lot of Pituophis morphs, is that they continue to get nicer and nicer with age, higher contrast, deeper purple coloration. The yellow becomes more prominent as well. And there's a ton of variability within the morph as well, which is something that I am very much looking forward to seeing as this girl grows up. What's nice about San Diego gopher snakes is that they're not quite as large as like the northern pine snakes that we looked at earlier. So if you want some Pituophis in your life, but you don't have quite enough space for a bull snake or a northern pine snake, something like a San Diego gopher snake is a great choice because they stay a bit smaller, but still have that Pituophis confidence and all of the same attributes that are so great about bull snakes and northern pine snakes. So a recent addition to the collection, only been with me for a little over a month now, but a snake that has been very fun to raise up and I'm excited to have in the collection for the long haul. This right here is one of the pinnacles of the Pituophis world, definitely of the pine snake world. This is my female Kentucky northern pine snake. So by wild population, one of the rarest snakes native to the United States and equally as uncommon in captivity. They are bred by a handful of people, but any pine snake aficionado would tell you that these are one of the ones that you really want to come across when you are putting together a pine snake collection. This cool yellow coloration only gets better with time. Adults are absolutely brilliantly colored. So a big, impressive, bright Kentucky pine snake is, in my opinion, one of the absolute coolest naturally occurring snakes in the entire world. I cannot wait for my pair to reach that size. And I would love to breed them, but I obviously plan to, but without breeding, just having these big, beautiful Kentucky pine snakes in my collection is something that I will be very grateful to be able to do. All right, everybody, thank you for checking out that video. If you liked it, please subscribe here to the YouTube channel, like, comment, share, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any new uploads here on the channel. You can find me on Instagram at Scrub Shepherd, Stephen Cush on Facebook, Cush Reptile on Morph Market, and I host a podcast every Wednesday night on the Trap Talk Reptile Network called Cush's Corner. It is live on YouTube at 9 p.m. Eastern Time every Wednesday. It is also available in audio-only format on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. With all that said, thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll catch you all back here next week for a new video.